but this will be my attempt to follow up some very good words from each of them. First and foremost, let's thank Ms. Sharon for a phenomenal job that she continues to do with our children. My son started with Ms. Sharon when he was 3, and like the pastor mentioned, he was above and beyond kindergarten level when he started school. He could read, he could add, he could subtract. So she does a really, really great job. She's one of a kind, and she exposes them to things that most daycares do not. You know, in addition to academically, she exposes them to dance, to Spanish, to tumbling, to swimming, to, you know, other things that will enrich their lives. So shout out to Ms. Sharon. I wish my son was here, but he had to leave so I could bring him up here. But it's good to be here. I thank Ms. Sharon for inviting me to come. So I just have a few nuggets or principles on building a strong foundation. As the pastor, Madison and Ashton mentioned, without a strong foundation, you have nothing. Eventually, without it, whatever you have built, it's going to fade away. It's not going to be strong. It's not going to last. So when Ms. Sharon told me that that was the theme, or that was the topic for today's ceremony, it was very easy to think of some things to discuss and to talk about with you. I'm just going to read a short scripture from Isaiah 33, verse 6. He will be the sure foundation for your times, a rich store of salvation and wisdom and knowledge. The fear of the Lord is the key to this treasure. So first and foremost, your foundation has to start with God. And with that, like Ashton mentioned, you are already off on the right foot if you acknowledge and serve God and ask Him for guidance, for wisdom, and all that you do. You pretty much are unlimited in what you can achieve. So if we start that with our children, and to piggyback off of Madison, to expose them to positive things, not, you know, hip-hop, certain language, and things in our music today that is really not beneficial to our kids, then we've already started them off on the right path. I'll start by reading the definition of foundation: the basis or groundwork of anything, the lowest and supporting layer of a structure, the natural or prepared ground or base on which some structure rests. So just to piggyback off some of the principles I've already mentioned, with a strong foundation, you're set for a good basis for what it is that you're trying to do. Secondly is preparation. And after you've built your foundation and you're on strong footing, then you've got to prepare for what it is that you want to do. And taking our kids and preparing them for the next level, as Ms. Sharon does to prepare them for school, then without preparation, you're not going to be ready. We have so many children that enter into kindergarten and even move through elementary school that don't have the reading ability or the math skills that they should. So if we prepare them by teaching them, by exposing them, by positive influences, then they are prepared and they are ready to go. And lastly is execution. You can have a strong foundation, you can be prepared, but I'll use the analogy of sports, basketball or any sport. If you cannot execute the play once you're on the field or on the court, then all of that preparation was for nothing, essentially. If you can't be in the classroom and you can't execute on the test. So foundation, preparation, execution. Ms. Sharon instills all of that into our children. She's done a phenomenal job. And speaking from all of these kids and seeing them up here today, I mean, it really took me aback. She is doing a great job. You have, what she said is, if you teach them, they can learn. What you teach them, they can learn. And you have 2-year-olds that are able to read, essentially, and able to sound out words. And I've seen 7- and 8-year-olds that have a difficult time doing that. So foundation, preparation, execution. With those things, these kids are set to go. Us parents have to get back to where we instill these principles in our children and where we promote and advocate education and not just video games and TV, as the pastor mentioned, as our babysitters, but reading to them, doing activities with them, getting out, taking them to museums, to the library, and being a part of their lives in every aspect. Then they are off on the right foot, I should say. And again, thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. And we will turn it back over to Ms. Sharon.
All right, guys, next on the program is my sister, Elizabeth Bridges, and she's going to be presenting the diplomas. And